Celtics Post Up is presented by Eastern Propane and Oil. They're in your neighborhood.
Welcome into Celtics Post Up, Chris Forsberg.
Celtics Post Up is presented by Eastern Propane and Oil. They're in your neighborhood.
Welcome into Celtics Post Up. Chris Forsberg, Amina Smith here with you. Plenty to get to on today's show. We're talking Jayson Tatum, MVP odds, just 10 games through the season. Is it too early to talk
never too
MVP?
early to start talking about MVP. You got to push that agenda early and often.
Never too early and often when it comes to that agenda. Also, Grant Williams joining the show. The Celtics, though, on a 3-game win streak. Let's take a look back at that win last night down in Memphis.
On the move, anything can happen when he goes coast to coast, including a Jayson Tatum block. Great look, smart to Tatum. It's going to be a highlight kind of night. Great look again. And Marcus has it going here. Virtually every game he has played. Tatum high off the window, and he gets the Jayson Tatum bouncing. The 2 on this possession. End up with 3 for Tatum with Bane in his mug. Tatum coming strong. How easy is he making these drives look? Celtics trying to run. It is just an absolutely must-see. That's a great ball movement right there on the finish for Al Horford. A 5-point game in the 4th quarter. Smart goes quick, draws the contact, and the follow. The magical left hand of Marcus Smart. The marquee matchup. Use the odds on another block for his 5th 3. Good hustle play by Al Horford. Tatum releases and flushes.
Man, he's letting the crowd know about it.
They promised to show, they delivered a show. This was a special game.
Jayson Tatum putting on a show. Time now for Bringing the Heat, brought to you by Eastern Propane and Oil. They're in your neighborhood. And it was a good one in Memphis on Monday night. 2 stars going at it. Jayson Tatum dropped 39 points and some efficient shooting. Also got to the line 16 times. Ja Morant put up 30 points and was a plus 14 on the floor. However, it wasn't enough to overcome that Celtics offense. That leads us right into Forsberg's Forum. Forsberg, it was all about Jayson Tatum at FedEx Forum last night. What do you got for us?
So I got 4 numbers that I think will start pushing the agenda of why, by May of 2023, Jayson Tatum should be holding up an MVP trophy. And it starts with 31.2, which is what the point total that Jayson Tatum is averaging to start the season. Why is this remarkable? Because no Celtics player in the history of the franchise has averaged more than Larry Bird at 29.9 points. So Jayson has a real chance to send above that number. He's up 4.3 points from last year. And I don't even think that 3-point shot has gotten to the level that he thinks it could be a weapon. And yet he's finding different ways to score, making it look easy. And while the MVP isn't necessarily the guy who scores the most points, and I don't think a scoring title is in Jayson's future, his efficiency with that has been phenomenal. I love that. He is finding ways to score even when that jumper's not falling.
And Jayson Tatum off to a hot start offensively, which isn't typical of him when you take a look at seasons past. All right, what's coming in next?
Well, the next number is 118, which is the Celtics offensive rating this season. It's not just good. It's not just number 1 in the NBA. It would be historically good right now. It would be the highest offensive rating in league history. The Nets have that mark, 117.3 a couple seasons ago in that pandemic-shortened season. But the Celtics offense is humming, and I think a lot of it falls back to what Tatum is doing. And when you have a scorer like that and he draws all that attention, it makes it easier. But credit to Joe Mazzulla, who came in, and the Celtics offense was kind of inconsistent last year, really leaned heavy onto their defense. This year, it's just been humming to a point where I'm like, is it sustainable? And then I think, yes, because they've had so many lulls during games and kicked away 10-point leads. I think the Celtics offense can be even better than it is, especially when they get a little guy named Robert Williams back to run and do lobs. But Jayson Tatum deserves a lot of credit for where that offense is right now.
Of course, you had to sneak in Rob Williams into the segment that's all about Jayson Tatum. All right, what's the next one?
Let's kick it over to the other side of the ball. And defensively, I think this is the biggest story for me coming off that Memphis game. Jayson Tatum took on the challenge of going up against another superstar in Ja Morant and held him to 0 for 4 shooting with 2 blocks and 0 points. And I thought it was especially telling at the end of that game. Tatum wanted that matchup. There's that early block, pinned a full steam Morant to start the game. And then here he is, Morant's going to lean in, and Tatum's like, nope, not right now. And that helped salt away the game. And I just feel like Tatum is starting to embrace the idea of, like, he is an above average defender based on his size and his length, and he can make things difficult. Donovan Mitchell found that out the other night trying to get a shot off before overtime there. But I think taking on Ja and forcing him to miss that much, it matters. And I don't know if necessarily Tatum is going to muscle his way into the all-defense conversation because the Celtics defense is lacking right now. But I think by the end of the year, when we're looking at the potential ballots, we'll say, what differentiates Jayson Tatum is that he plays defense way more than Luka, and he impacts the game on both ends, much like a Giannis Antetokounmpo.
And that's a difference between a star in the NBA and a superstar in the NBA, a guy that's going to go out there and not only score a bunch of points, but also defend when his team needs him to. All right, last but not least, what do you got? My
last number is 14.5, and that is essentially the percentage of his shots that he's being fouled on this season. And here's why that matters. Jayson Tatum is living at the free throw line early in this season. And it shows an aggressiveness. It shows a willingness to draw contact. And I think this was a huge focus for Tatum this offseason. He wanted to find ways to get more efficiency with his offense. And that means going strong to the basket. He doesn't have these out-of-control drives anymore. He's finishing with floaters and all these. And I just feel like he has evolved into a complete player on both ends of the court. And just, Kia, start shining up that trophy right now. Maybe send it to Boston to save you some shipping costs. I feel like Jayson Tatum has muscled his way into this conversation, and this is only the tip of the iceberg.
Now, Forsberg, you made a really great case for Jayson Tatum and that MVP conversation, but let's hear what Vegas has to say. Let's bring in Tom Giles for that. And Giles, what is Vegas saying about Jayson Tatum and possibly winning the MVP?
Yeah, well, right now, I mean, he's got the third best odds to win the MVP. Basically, wherever you look, you're still looking at Giannis at the top and Luka second, but Jayson Tatum with the third best odds. And when you compare it to where he started the season, which was 7th on that list, you know, he's passed Embiid, he's passed Jokic, he's passed Kevin Durant, and now you see Tatum at 6-1 to win the MVP. And that is a pretty good climb right there, followed by Ja Morant and Steph Curry.
And let's also talk about this Celtics offense and their title odds in terms of getting back to the NBA Finals and winning a title. What is Vegas saying about that? Because before the season, they were saying that the Celtics, they're going to win it all.
Yeah, they were the favorites, and they're right there kind of with the Clippers and the Warriors. But if you look at the list right now, the Celtics odds haven't really changed. They're still around 6-1. But Milwaukee, due to the fact that they've gotten off to a phenomenal start so far this year, Milwaukee's actually the favorite right now at plus 550. So they have jumped above the Celtics, who are still trailed by, you know, the Clippers, the Warriors, a couple teams out west. The one thing that I find interesting on that list is that the 10th team on that list would be the Cleveland Cavaliers at 18-1. I don't know. I thought that the Cavs looked pretty good in the 2 matchups with the Celtics, and they should certainly be getting more respect than the Brooklyn Nets, who have the 6th best odds. But, yeah, I know. That doesn't make a lot of sense, Forsberg, but sometimes it's just about how many people are invested into teams, and they can't really drop the odds too much.
I'm not invested in that team at all.
You're not invested at all. But also, Forsberg, the Bucks, they scare me a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But this is Celtics Post Up.
Let them talk about that on Bucks Post Up. Celtics Post Up. All right, thanks so much, Tom Giles. Let's take a break here on Celtics Post Up. Mr. Corner Office, Batman, or just Grant Williams. He goes by many names, and we have him on today's show to discuss it all. What's Grant's relationship with Jayson Tatum really like? And did he practice that Batman voice for the podium? We get the answers to that and so much more coming up.
Celtics Post Up is presented by Eastern Propane and Oil. They're in your neighborhood.
He just accelerates through, goes right to the rim.
Back-to-back dunks from Grant Williams. And speaking of Grant Williams, let's welcome him in to the show right now. And Grant, we're going to talk about a lot on this podcast and also on this segment right now. But we're going to be talking about Batman. We're talking about the dunks, the bench, everything that's going on. But first, it's Election Day. You went back home to North Carolina to vote in your own community. Why was that so important to you?
It's vital. It's something that's so important because of the impact that it can make not only in our own communities every single day, because we always talk about presidential elections, but our state and local elections matter a lot because of they impact us every single day. The laws, the things that we try and accomplish each day within the real estate, whether that's through our kids and the communities. So that's part of the reason why I went back home and voted. And I encourage others to do the same. No matter who you vote for, no matter who you stand for, go out there and use your right.
It's awesome that you guys do that. I want to shift it back to basketball a little bit. What I need to know is the hard-hitting question, Grant. We love nicknames around here. We're going to get into your Batman. Does the bench mob have a name yet? Have you guys thought about what you want to call yourselves yet?
I don't think so. I think that's up for the fans to decide. Whatever they decide to name us, that's kind of what we go with typically. We don't put much pressure on that. So normally Celtics Twitter got us. So we'll see how it goes.
Speaking of nicknames, we know that the nickname Batman has stuck to you. But Grant, over the last couple of weeks, I'm not going to lie, especially seeing your outfit for Halloween, I thought the Dark Knight might be a better fit. Like, what are you thinking about that? Because also you had the voice going at the podium and the post-game presser. Can we go from Batman to the Dark Knight?
I think it's one and the same, I guess. It's funny because Gary Washburn called me the Dork Knight, which was kind of goofy. So I kind of gave him a little bit of goofy pleasure laughing at that joke. But I just embraced it, That was one of those, when I got the nickname and Celtics embraced it, I embraced it myself. And the voice hopefully was good enough to impress people, but I thought it was very fun.
The voice definitely impressed me and plenty of people on social media, but I gotta know, did you practice that voice at home? Like, because I could only go maybe for one question with another voice. How did you do the whole post-game presser in the Batman voice?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never practiced that. Like, it's one of those things I just tried, and I was like, hey, it sounds pretty good, right? That's normally how it sounds in movies, so I was just like, all right, try and copy it to that degree.
So my favorite part of that whole post-game press conference was when Jayson Tatum walked into the locker room and kind of asked you in so many words what you were exactly doing over there. Can you tell me about you and Jayson's relationship? I think you told me before that when you came up for your pre-draft workout, you stayed with him. What is your relationship like with Tatum?
Yeah, it's a great relationship. I'm fortunate to have a good friend on the team. He was a good mutual friend in Harry Giles before I got to the team. And then when I first came to work out, for the Celtics, I just went over to where he stayed back then, and we hung out for a bit, worked out the next day, and ended up getting drafted. And got closer and closer as the years have gone on. I try my best to keep him level and happy and everything else, and he does the same. So it's a good dynamic, and I feel like we have each other's back.
It feels a little bit like oil and water, or like, what is that like? Because do you bring out his more vocal side? Do you embrace the fact that you sometimes seem to annoy him? And how does that dynamic work?
Yeah, I feel like I embrace the fact that I annoy him. That's probably the number one thing. I annoy a lot of people, so it's one of those things that you learn to love me. So I know that for him, I try my best to just keep him in a good attitude, good mind, because he's our leader. He's the cog that makes us run. So for us, it's just a matter of keeping that perspective every single day, make sure that we're having fun throughout the year, because it can be long, as you guys know. So that's probably the biggest thing, is bringing that light every single day, trying to make not only him happy, but everybody else around me. And that's probably the one job that I see that I have.
Every time I see you and Jayson Tatum together, it just reminds me of two brothers going back and forth. If you could describe that relationship in one word, what would it be?
Competitive. In his eyes, but in my eyes, I whip him a lot more than he whips me. So let's just say that.
Do you think there's been a truce in your war with Deuce now that he dressed up as Batman for Halloween?
It reminded me of when Damian Wayne chose Superman's side. that reminded me of that because you are there for somebody. You know, I remember back when the bubble happened, I was there for dudes playing, you know, goofing around, blah blah blah. He was 2 years old, so he probably doesn't remember that, but. Next thing you know, he just went to the other side, man. So it's no smoke, you know. I respect it. You know, you gotta let people blossom and grow in their own way. But my Rob is becoming his own Batman. You know, that's the best way to describe it. And there may be a little bitterness back and forth, but it works out.
It's good to know that there is no smoke with the toddler out there between you, Grant, and Deuce. All right, let's talk about those corner office threes. Obviously a thing come last season, something that you worked on during the offseason between you and Sam Hauser. We've been seeing it more and more in these games. What exactly did you work on during the offseason to perfect that shot?
Yeah, I feel like that's just more so as the years have gone on, continuing improving on that, just getting reps at it. The more things I worked on the offseason, mostly driving closeouts and making the right decision, making the right reads. But that shot has always been one of those comfortable things that you just kind of like are able to just, you know, let go and feel confident about. Both Sam and I feel like I add that value of shooting to the team. So we do our best to just space the floor, make the right shots, make the right opportunities, and continue to grow in our game as the year goes on. And I got to give big shouts out to Sam and doing the same because we're trying to lead it on that mark.
Who's winning those three-point battles if you do like post-practice shooting? Is anyone going up against Sam?
Sam wins.
Right.
After that, toss up.
Hey, so you got that Jordan Brand endorsement now. Obviously, you know, your buddies along the way, Kemba and JT. What's it like to be part of that? And were you worried at all that you might have compromised it when your shoe exploded in that game a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I was about to say, it feels like a family. I felt like I was that one brother that made the issue at the family reunion when I blew the shoe up. But at the same time, I've done that with many shoes. I've done that with like Adidas shoes. I've done that with Nike shoes in the past. I've done that with Under Armour shoes. So it's just a matter of like when you wear them too much, like that happens. Maybe for a guy my size at least, but. It's one of those things that when it happened in the game, I was like, oh, Lord, couldn't happen to a better guy, right?
It was definitely giving Zion Williamson vibes when I saw that happen. Literally, Twitter exploded when that played over and over again and reminded everyone of that moment. Let's talk about the bench for a little bit. Malcolm Brogdon really bolstering that Celtics bench and that second unit. How has he changed the mentality of the bench coming in this year?
Yeah, he does a phenomenal job of leading us and making sure that we understand how valuable we are to the team and how much impact we can have. He does a good job of penetrating into the paint and spraying out the shoes around him and creating a shot for himself. So he provides a different value and opportunity to the team that needed it. And he's been very, very, very powerful in his way of approach every single day, and he's been very good in his ability, and he's been just true to himself, and he's allowed himself to blossom with the success that we have with one another.
I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't badger you to give me some information about how Robert Williams looks behind the scenes, and maybe just a timeline on when we can expect him back on the court if you want to divulge inside information.
Oh, that is not my job, so I wouldn't know.
I had to try.
Of course, Chris Forsberg going to try and get some information about Rob Williams.
Nice to see him back in there in the practice facility doing his thing. Like he was on the road with you guys for this trip. That's got to be an encouraging sign.
Absolutely, we've seen Rob a while. We've been with him this entire time. He always comes in, works out of the facility and stuff like that. So he's going to let himself back to help. There's no rush for him. For us, we need him to be the best he could possibly be, and by that it means he's healthy. And there's no pressure for him coming back anytime soon or anytime too long. We want to have him back because of the value he provides and the person that he is. But it's one of those days you want to take care of yourself and make sure that you're prepared for the grinds of a season, and we never want to force somebody to come back too soon, and especially when we feel like we have a ability to perform right now with him out, and we're doing a good job with him. So he's been very encouraging, he's been very supportive, and we're trying to be the same to him because he's always been that type of player, we've always been that type of teammate, and we're just thankful to have him on this team.
All right, last one for me, and then I'll stop badgering you. So back at the Shamrock Foundation Gala, you got presented for your community work. The Celtics gave you that Catan board. First off, that was the coolest looking board I've seen. Like, what did that mean to you that they put that together? And just, how important is that, especially as we celebrate Bill Russell this year, just the whole mentorship this year and what you're doing in the community?
It meant the world, honestly. The fact that I got part of the parquet in one of my favorite board games, Bill Russell played on it. It's a piece of history in my eyes, and it's something that I'll always be able to cherish because my grandfather, I always speak about him and how much he loved the Celtics, how much he loved Bill Russell, KC, and Sam Jones, and everyone to that degree. So it was an honor for me, and I was just thankful that the Celtics were able to do that for me and gift that to me because I feel blessed. And it's something that inspires me to continue to perform every single day. And every time I go onto that floor and play to the best degree of my ability each night because they put that love, showed that love to me. I want to do the same to them.
All right, well, thanks so much, Grant, for stopping by the show, and good luck on Wednesday. All right, let's take a break here on Celtics Post Up. Plenty more coming up. We got plays of the week. The Celtics on a 3-game win streak. You don't want to miss it. Stay with us. Welcome back into Celtics Post Up. Time for the Name to Know, presented by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning. The name to know when the drains don't flow. And Cade Cunningham for the Pistons, averaging about 21 points per game so far this season, about 6.5 rebounds and about 6 assists for the second-year player. And just last night, the Pistons, they got their second win of the season. And Cade Cunningham, 21 points, 11 rebounds. They're going to be facing the Celtics on Wednesday night. Forsberg, I'm not scared about this matchup, about the Pistons at all, but how are you expecting that to unfold?
It's funny because if you think back to last season, the Pistons were always a thorn in the Celtics side, and we couldn't figure it out. It's like, why is this team one of the worst in the NBA? Why do they always give them problems? But they do have some young talent, some spunky guys that are going to go out there and be feisty, whether that's Cade, whether that's Saddiq Bey, a guy who could have been drafted by the Celtics. Might still be a little bit of a lingering pain point for me because I really like Saddiq Bey coming out of college. But, you got to be ready. And you can't just look at the schedule and be like, there's wins here. You can't let your foot off the gas just because it's not Memphis. There's not a Ja Morant over there. So I'm eager to see if the Celtics can bring the necessary intensity. You've won 3 in a row. 2 of your next 3 games are against this Pistons team. There's a real chance here to build some momentum, to feel good about yourself. I hope they bring out the right energy. The
only thing that worries me about a team like this is that they come in with nothing to lose. And those are the most dangerous teams to face when they go out there and they say, hey, we're going to come out and face the Celtics who are in the hunt, for an NBA title, trying to get back to the NBA Finals. That kind of scares me a little bit when you take a look at this young, scrappy Pistons team.
The one thing they could lose, though, is all those ping pong balls and the chance to get Victor Wembanyama. So I would say this, they have motivation to not be very good. They're not good overall. They don't have Kelly Olynyk anymore. These are things that don't scare me about the Pistons. But again, I want to see the Celtics. We haven't seen a game this year where they've come out and just been like, you know what? We are the better team. We're going to get a 20-point lead. We're not going to fumble it away. And our starters are going to go chill and watch Gino and dance all night. So I need to see that on Wednesday night.
I'm still going to be on high alert for this matchup between the Celtics and the Pistons. All right, the Celtics host the Pistons on Wednesday night. We'll get you ready starting at 7 p.m. with Celtics pregame live. It's presented by TD Bank. And remember, you can also stream the game. Head to NBCSportsBoston.com, the NBC Sports app, or the My Teams app to watch on your favorite device. The Boston Celtics live stream is presented by Nissan. At Nissan, we make cars that thrill. Experience that thrill for yourself today. Shop NissanUSA.com. Let's leave you with the plays of the week.
Smart finds Tatum wide open with a big time flush on Jared Allen to tie the game. Donovan Mitchell blocked by Tatum, and we're going to overtime again.
To the basket, like they did last night. Kicks the spot in the corner, back to Brown, open look. Got it. Man, Celtics are really moving it. Yeah, off the bench, quickly trying to catch him and can't. Kicks it to the corner. Guess who? Hauser, the streaking White up the middle. Throws up off the glass for two. Crosses Barrett over. Takes a step away three and buries it.
Great look, Smart to Tatum. It's going to be a highlight kind of night. Great look again. And Marcus has it going here. 14-point lead has been cut to 5. Yep.
Oh, there it is.
The
Cobra. He ready.
For his 5th three. Good hustle play by Al Horford. Tatum releases and flushes.
Man, he's letting the crowd know about it.